What do I actually do when I'm putting off making a video? Well, besides the things I have to do, eat, sleep, work, so on, I watch films, watch TV, play games, and read books. That last one's relevant here because recently I read a book I've been meaning to for a long time. Nausea. I won't talk too much about the content of the book because I'd suggest you read it yourself, it's not too long. The book was first published in 1938 and was written by Jean-Paul Sartre, a French philosopher, novelist, and playwright. He is indisputably one of the most important names in continental philosophy. It was a household name in his time. For those of you wondering why I'm not talking about video games yet and am talking about dead philosophers, give me one more moment. I could go on about this for hours, so I'll get to the point. In Nausea, Sartre talks about his philosophy of existentialism. I'm going to break down existentialism into one idea that has a lot of consequences, and I'm sure it's one you've heard of before. Life has no meaning. The world doesn't care about your ambitions, you don't have a destiny, there's nothing that determines what you do or who you are, and this sounds nihilistic. While there is crossover between nihilism and existentialism, the existentialists take a somewhat more optimistic view of this. If there's nothing set out for you, nothing determined, you are radically free to decide your future for yourself. This is one of the most important facets of existentialism, though contrary to popular belief, not the most important. That would be the importance of authenticity. Sartre compares everyday life to acting in a play. One must never simply fill one's role because one's expected to. If I'm employed as a waiter, my job may be to wait, but this does not mean that I am a waiter. It doesn't mean my mannerisms or characteristics or worldview should change to the things expected of a waiter. I must remain true to my own worldview and characteristics, remain true to myself and what I want. That is where the meaning in life comes from. So existentialists, unlike nihilists, don't believe there can't be meaning to life. It simply has no meaning inherently. We can and should invent meaning for our own lives, whether that's championing a cause, or trying to go to the moon, or making half-baked YouTube videos that average fewer than 100 views. Okay, that should give you enough of an idea of what existentialism is to move on to what we actually came here for. Skyrim is a pretty good game, it turns out. I used to enjoy it, and then I used to not enjoy it. And now I started playing it again, but did something a bit different. I've played this game a lot. Numerous playthroughs, Breton Spellsword, Redguard Mage, and Altmer Archer, all a little unconventional, and all a little unsatisfying. So what I did this time was play a Nord Knight. Strong, good-hearted, heroic. Couldn't get more conventional really. Honestly, I was bored even thinking about it. But what happened now is that there's no dissonance between what the game expects and what I wanted to do as my character. And while that led to a more satisfying playthrough, I realised that I'm really failing here. I'm letting essence precede existence and not making my decisions for myself, but simply doing what the game expects me to do. Being what I'm meant to be, not what I am. Skyrim's strengths are certainly in the world space and exploration, and enough has been said about its role-playing or leveling system that I know that I'd have to really change perspective to have anything worth adding to the discussion. In taking that perspective, I'm seeing a system mired in flaws from a fundamental level. The premise of the player character is that they're a prisoner caught crossing the border. That's the only thing set in stone at the outset. There are really infinite possibilities for the character you could come up with to meet that criteria. However, the issue arises when the game starts colouring your character in further. You're gonna be the Dragonborn. There are times where you really have to fight the game if you don't want to be the hero. The game seems to work a lot better when you play right into its expectations. It's almost forcing the player into a path. This really isn't the ideal situation as far as I see it. I'd rather a game that allows me to be true to my character, with opportunity to develop that character and freedom to express it. The best games are the ones that allow us to give them meaning, not ones that give us theirs.